Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is get this guy ready for the 3-digit display. What we have to do is take a drill bit and edge cut these holes where the old display was. So we don't want them connecting. See, like this run is connected to this run. Well, we don't want that. We want it all separated. Okay. So let me see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the two outer ones are not used, and then on the bottom, this one's not used, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is used, and then these two are not. But you can see that these two are connected together. So if we don't edge cut the holes, then those two parts of the 3-digit display will be shorted together, and we don't want that. All right, let me get set up here, and I'll be back. Okay, don't laugh at me now if I make a mess out of this. I need to slide it over here to the edge. Is it still in the camera view? Barely. Okay. Now the cables are in the way. Best I can do. Okay, now see, it cut all the copper away from that hole. We do that with the 6 across the top, leaving the first one alone because the 6-digit display doesn't have that first one, so we don't have to worry about it. All you guys installing the LesComm Piggy-Back display adapter board, you need to see this. This is what I mean by edge cutting. Now this drill bit is dull, you can probably tell that. And I just leave it that way because I don't want to drill a hole all the way through the board. I just want to cut the edges of these runs. Okay, and then I only need to do the do 5 on the bottom. Okay. Get all the extra off of there. There it is. See how that edge cut the copper away from that hole? Now I'm going to check the other side. See, we've got some runs that go to displays on this side, or connections on this side of the display. I'm going to edge cut those. Looks like there's 2 of them. And doesn't look like any of the rest of them are connected, so that's good enough for that. See, those 2 there had runs going from there to there. Actually, there's 1 there and 1 there. And that 1 there comes over here, and this one comes way over here. So by edge cutting them, we've effectively disconnected those holes so that when we put the 3-digit display in there, you know, it's not going to short out. It's going to do what we want to. But as you can see on the top, can you see that? Oh, you can now. Okay, on the top, the first 6, or actually not the first 6, skip the first one, and then do the next 6 holes and skip the last one. Those are not used. Alright, and then on the bottom I did this backwards. Should be that hole there, skip the first hole, that hole there, and then the rest of them. Now I did 6, but that's not going to hurt anything. It's just there's not going to be a pin stick through it, and I got to go back and do this one. So hang on a minute. Now I've done 100 of these, and I only messed it up because I was showing it to you on the camera. If I hadn't been trying to show you, I wouldn't have messed it up. But there we go. You only have to do these 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That last one, the last 2, you don't have to do. Okay. And then on the top, you do these 6, leaving 1 at each end that you don't need to do. Hope you saw that. All right. More to come. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the piggyback board. Okay, this is the LesComm display piggyback board. And what we want to do is install this 10-pin connector. And the way to install that is with the opening facing up. Okay, so the top of the board would be like this, LesComm in the upper right hand corner, and then you would install the connector with the opening towards the top. Okay, and you just solder that to the board. And you have to do this before you mount it, else you won't be able to get to the back of it. I like to solder like a couple in the middle to hold it in place. You need to hold the iron on there until you get good penetration through the pass-through hole, because you're going to cut these pins off flush with the top of the board. I keep my soldering iron set at about 700 degrees. Gets the solder good and hot so you get good penetration, but yet it's not hot enough to burn and lift the runs off the board. Okay. Alright, always double check your soldering, make sure that there's no connection between the pins. Okay, and then we're going to take a pair of flush cuts and cut that off. And I don't see my flush cuts. I'll be right back. Okay, I like to use these Klein tool flush cuts. My handle's about to come off there. These are made by Klein. They're D275-5 is the part number for the tool. What you want to do, you want to come in here and cut this off flush. Okay, because we're going to need the spacing to make sure that we get over the pins of the display. And I got to show you the display too, because you have to bend the pins on it to fit through the original display. Okay, you can see we got them all cut off there, and I'll probably do a little sanding to smooth those out to make sure they don't dig into this. Now, the display, this particular one is red, but see how I had to bend the pins? You have to bend them out like that because the 3-digit display pins are narrower than the original. See that? So you have to bend these pins out and then up so that they match the original pin spacing, because we're going to use the same holes. So what we do is come in here, and once these pins have been bent, they'll fit through the original holes. Okay, and then the piggyback board with a connector opening facing up. That's the top of the board up there, LesComm at the top. Okay, goes over these pins. like so. Then I'll use a couple of these guys to hold it in place while I solder it. Now, like I said, I want to sand. You can sand, grind, file. You just have to make sure that you don't damage the tiny little PC runs going to these pins here. Alright, let me do that and I'll be back. Okay. You can see I sanded in like around the edges of the piggyback board. You can see where the sanding got into it, and it sanded the solder mask off of the bottom run there. It didn't damage the run, but I put some black paint over it, cover it up, and insulate it, and I also put some black paint thickly over those center pads there. But you can see there's still bumps there, but I filed them down to where that they won't hold us off the board too much. Okay, get a better picture of that for you. But the black paint over there insulates it from the back of the other board. But now we've cut all the runs on the back of this board. You know, we've separated those by doing the edge cut to the holes, and all of these have solder mask on them as well, so we should be good. In other words, we won't short anything out. Okay. And this can be tricky, getting all these pins to line up, because you never can bend them perfectly. Trust me, I know. I've done so many of them. Okay, I got it in there. And we're going to clamp it. Well, I think I'm going to clamp it. Okay. I think I've got it. See there? I got one in each corner to hold it down. I want to pull the display as tight to the board as I can, and that came off of the display on that side. Let me get it a different angle here. There we go. Yeah. See, there's not hardly any space in between the piggyback board and the PC board, and that's what we want. We want it tied up against there so it can't move. And I'll probably put some hot glue around it to keep it from moving. I don't want it rubbing the runs on the back of the original board. Okay. I like to solder like the first 2 or 3 pins in the middle, and then I can move back and forth, because once you have those pins soldered, then this is not going to move. Turn this around so you can see the other side. Okay, that's it. Now, see what that looks like? The opening going towards the top. Your dots always go towards the bottom. Okay. You can also remember that the bottom only has 5 pins. Bottom has 5 pins. The top has 6 pins. Okay. And that's it. This 3-digit display is mounted in the original display holes, and because we left one open on each side and centered up the top, it's exactly centered where the old display was. so it'll show up in the middle of your display window. Okay, I hope this helps you guys doing your own installations. Remember, you can email me at lcts13lcts@gmail.com. 7 3s, everybody.